What's up, YouTube? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. It was a busy Monday. I'm at the end of my day. This is my final video. I feel like I was going to address a comment, but I'm just going to leave it. I just want you guys to know, like, I'm doing my absolute best, and sometimes by the time I get to this point in the night, after my regular full-time job, my part-time work, my being a dad and a family person, my days are sometimes 18, 19 hours long, and I sleep for less than 5 hours. Like, that's just my days. So I'm doing my absolute best. I apologize if sometimes I maybe don't hit the quality that we're hoping for, but I'm in the mode right now where I think like doing something is better than nothing, because if being tired was an excuse, I would never put out a video. So this is just life. We're here right now. A lot of people commented question time, so I'm going to do question time. I'm really curious and interested to see what this is, because people did say this was politically charged. So I want to see what we got here. Now, just a heads up, some of this may go over my head as it might be British politics. I'm not sure how specific he is or how broad he's going to be, but we'll kind of see what we got. Here we go. Oh shit, I just saw it 7 minutes. I'm screwed. All right, here we go.
Question for the new Prime Minister. How do you have a heart so sinister? How are we so wasteful when people are dying in Somalia, Afghanistan, Egypt, Libya? The irony is we have no business in Syria, but kids are getting killed for all the business in Syria. And then they try and tell you that it's ISIS in their attempts at killing it. How many civilians died? So what's the difference between us and them? When you got drones killing kids just touching 10, then when a bomb...
I have a lot of opinions about this particular topic. And I mean, the true intentions behind why certain governments intervene in some places and not others, oh man, it's a twisted world. It's a twisted world. And that line, what he said out there, what's the difference between us and them when you got drones killing kids just touching 10? Like, this is something I talk about all the time. Like, I know this might be a touchy topic, but let's talk about Russia and Ukraine. How is that different than going into Iraq, going into Afghanistan, Israel, Palestine? It's not different. It's not different. It's the exact same stuff. It's just heroes and villains. So when we've already decided who plays which role in the movie, who's the hero and who's the villain, well, when the hero does the exact same thing that the villain's doing, well, the hero's going to be glorified and say, well, he's doing it for a righteous cause, and the villain's going to be, vilified and say, oh, they're doing terrible, horrible things. Nah, they're both doing horrible things. We're just falling for the movie roles that we were told exist.
So what's the difference between us and them when you got drones killing kids just touching 10? Then when a bomb goes off, every politician's lost like that last strike. It didn't kill 100 men. You ain't the same as them, but all that fuel for the fire is what you gave to them and what you take from them.
All that fuel for the fire is what you gave to them and what you take from them. So he's talking about like going into places for oil and stuff. But all the fuel for the fire is what you gave to them. And this is something else I talk about all the time. How it's cyclical. Like, the interventions that happen create the next generation of people who are going to hate you because you killed their dad or their uncle or their granddad or their mom or their sibling, whoever it might be. You're creating the next wave of people that hate your country and you and everything you stand for because you took away everything from them. You are the fuel for that next fire that's coming. Bro, this dude, this is going to be a long reaction, guys. I'm sorry, but he's talking about something that, as you can see, fires me up a little bit.
All my life I know my mum's been working, in and out of nursing, struggling, hurting. I just find it fucked that the government is struggling to care for a person that cares for a person. So where's the discussion on wages and budgets, how they made them redundant? When I was a young'un, the letters in her car said my mum was overdraft, but somehow I still had dinner money in my pocket. And even the little things like ordering pizza were probably the reason for overtime in the evening. 5 till 10, 6 hours of sleeping for 22 years. My mum was doing it cleaning, dreaming that her kids.
Come on, man, that's crazy. And this is something that I'll always love about him, the way he's talking about his mom right now, and the visuals he's giving you. He's not just saying, oh yeah, my mom, she worked hard, and because she worked hard, like, we have food on the table. Look at the visuals that he's giving you. The letters in our car said that my mom was overdraft, but somehow I had dinner money in my pocket. Like, that's a visual. He could have just said, oh, we were broke, my mom was working so hard, and she always made sure I had something to eat. That's basically what he's saying. But the visuals are what make it hit 10 times harder. Even the little things like ordering pizza, probably the reason for overtime in the evening.
Pizza were probably the reason for overtime in the evening. 5 till 10, 6 hours of sleeping for 22 years. My mum was doing it cleaning, dreaming that her kids would have a better life. Going bed at night, struggling with getting by. That's the reality for millions of people in a nation where a lot of us were looking for a second try. A question for the new Prime Minister, and please tell me if I'm being narrow-minded, but how do we spend so much money on defence and weapons to wage war when the NHS is dying? Bursting.
Thank you. Doesn't make sense to me. Like, when you look at a country's budget, the budget should reflect the priorities, right? Like, if you created a budget right now and you were like, okay, well, how much money do I want to spend in a month, or how much money do I want to spend in a year? Typically, it's going to reflect your priorities. And probably close to the top of your priorities would be your home, or like wherever you live. That's usually the biggest thing in our budget. Next for a lot of people, if you drive, might be transportation, and then it gets smaller from there. Like, if you're somebody that values health, gym's going to be fairly up there. Like, you're going to get a nice gym membership. You look at a country the same way. When you look at a country's budget, it starts to become clear what they think they prioritize, or what's the most important. And things like health, and I'm going to take it a step further. He might touch on this, but I'm going to take it a step further. Education are way, way, way too damn low on that list. Like, it's messed up how bad they are. Wow.
Question for the new Prime Minister, and please tell me if I'm being narrow-minded, but how do we spend so much money on defence and weapons to wage war when the NHS is dying, bursting at the seams? And what about the people that voted for us to leave for the money that it would see? 350 million we give to the EU every week that our health service needs. But now them politicians got what they wanted. Can you see an empty promise or a poster on the street? Nurses in tears because they're working every hour of the week and they still don't have the money that they need. You brought the heart of the nation to its knees. Underpaid, understaffed, overworked and overseen by people who can't ever understand how it feels to live life like you and me. Patience like...
Yeah. That is the core of the problem. Overseen by people who can't ever understand how it feels to live life like you and me. When was the last time you saw a poor person make it to the highest levels of politics? I'll let you think about it.
Its knees, underpaid, understaffed, overworked and overseen by people who can't ever understand how it feels to live life like you and me. Patients lying in the corridors because doctors can't even find a bed for them to sleep. I remember A&E and all them sickening screams of a little girl waiting for a surgeon to be seen. Privatized healthcare, guns for police, increased uni fees. Is this what they're selling us? Or let me remind you, just in case you've forgotten, that we live in Great Britain, not in Donald Trump's America. Speaking of America, state and the president, with all due respect, I've got something to say to them. I just find it funny you can't give a hand to Palestine, but you can trade whole arms with Saudi Arabia.
Respect, man. Respect. These are topics that people struggle to touch on because these are, I was going to say complicated. It's not even complicated. It's just that you touch these topics and you become a target because it's against the system that's in place. The system is in place that US is in bed with Israel, US is in bed with Saudi. Like, that's just how it is, right? And by the way, the visual here, like, I find it funny you can't give a hand to Palestine, but you can trade whole arms with Saudi Arabia. That's a dope visual there. But calling out Trump, by the way, the healthcare system, like, literally crashing, and the theories of things switching to privatize, that's exactly what's happening up here. I live in Canada, same thing. Like, our system is so effed. It's like on the verge of collapse. All the same reasons that he's talking about here. So this hits really, really close to home for me. It actually makes me really angry because we went through a terrible process when my son was born. But I'll maybe save that story for another time. But that particular topic pisses me off. Yeah.
Look, I got a question for the new Prime Minister. At Grenfell Tower, your response was ridiculous. You hid like a coward behind your 5 million, dodged responsibility and acted like you're innocent. And I can see you're terrified. You're not good at telling lies. I'm getting why you stay away from everything that's televised. You look like a robot and you don't speak with any life. It feels to me like any guy in press could have said them lines. Imagine going to the...
Yo, he's going crazy with the rhyme patterns right now too, though. What is this, 3 or 4 syllable rhyme pattern that he's holding here. But I believe the Grenfell Tower was like it was like a fire, and there either wasn't adequate like anti-fire measures or escape routes for people to get out. I don't remember the exact story. Like, I know some of it, but I believe that's what he's referencing. And I think that this part, like a coward, you hid like a coward behind your 5 million. I'm not sure what that reference is, but from the context, I'm going to assume that maybe that was like that was going to be the settlement or whatever to help people get back on their feet from that. I'm not sure. That's just my guess.
You don't speak with any life. It feels to me you stay away from everything that's televised. You look like a robot and you don't speak with any life. It feels to me like any guy in press could have said them lines. Imagine going to the council for the safety of your block and you got kids but they're ignoring you at every time. Everyone who knew about that cladding should really be going prison under rule of joint enterprise. But if it ain't a little kid with a knife, I bet that judge is going easy when he's giving him time. They don't deserve to be free. Any builder MP that knew about the conditions but did it to save cheese. When I listened to the things that the residents had seen, I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. Families, they know that had died in their sleep. How you choke on the smoke when you're struggling to breathe. The glow from the fire, the panic when you hear all of the sirens, the crackling, the popping and the muffled out screams. The fear in the eyes of a man that was trapped who jumped 15 floors from the tower to the street. I could only hear a fraction of the pain and the grief. Closing my eyes, trying hard not to cry at the joy and relief in the face of a man when a woman from the flat said his neighbor was alive. No help from the council in keeping any list or the people that survived, his neighbors and peers. And for that whole meeting I could see that he was trying, so his smile was an island in a sea full of tears. Look, I got
his smile was an island in a sea full of tears. Come on, the visuals, wow. It was hard for me. I didn't want to pause in that part, but who jumped 15 floors from the tower to the street? Like, think about how awful a situation has to be to make that decision. Wow.
And I could see that he was trying, so his smile was an island in a sea full of tears. Look, I got a message for our old Prime Minister, David Cameron. I mean, you fucked us, resigned and sneaked out the firing line. I wanna know how you managed it. And are you bathing in the sun while them papers have a run at the woman that you left here to handle it? You gonna teach a little lad to be the man that's got a plan, and then the moment that it fails to abandon it? Are there bullies in his school? And when you pick him up after class, can you feel his embarrassment? I mean, you never gave a fuck about the youth, and that's the truth. There's no sympathy for you or your cabinet. I really wish I could have seen how you were scrambling when you lost the referendum that you had to win. I feel like politicians are all addicts in a big fat game, but it's lives that you gamble with.
So I definitely didn't know any of the specifics of what he was referencing through that whole verse. But the way he put that last part in, I feel like politicians are all addicts in a big fat game, but it's lives that you gamble with. I feel like that too, man. I wonder sometimes if they even see us like people, like real lives. I don't know.
I feel like politicians are all addicts in a big fat game, but it's lives that you gamble with. I've got a question for the leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbin. Where do you want to take the country to? Honestly, I want to put my trust in you, but you can understand why if I got trust issues. Do you really have the faith of your party? Do you really have faith in the party that will come with you? And how do you plan on keeping all the promises? Man, if I'm being honest, sir, I'm struggling to get with it. I just ain't getting it. Everybody's great until you get them into office, and then guys start forgetting things. Prove to us you're different. Don't promise me anything. Go and get justice for Sean, Charles and Edison. And if you haven't had the thought to vote yet or protest because you don't really see the progress, I hope you know that what they're saying is affecting us. The small steps are way better than no steps.
I like the way they set this up too, the video. Oh, what did those guys have to do with it? James Blake, The Weeknd, maybe in production or something? I didn't hear any other parts. Maybe I just didn't notice it or something. Maybe they're in the background. I don't know. Man, you know, I don't know. Like, how long do we want to sit here? I guess I'll close the video by talking about the last verse. And the last verse, he talked about this where he said, everybody's great until you get them into office, and then guys start forgetting things. And he's being passive aggressive with that too. Like we know they don't start forgetting things. We know the truth is there's a script you follow, and if you follow this script, you have a better chance of winning and getting elected. And then once you're in. Who cares? Like, what are they gonna do? They gotta write it out, right? It's a game. It's a game, unfortunately. And again, I don't know all the ins and outs of the British system. Unfortunately, I probably know the American system the best. And that's a load of garbage, like hot mess. It literally doesn't matter who comes in, because that system, the bipartisan, the party loyalty over everything else. You could come up with the best idea in the world, and this idea could be win-win for both sides, cure cancer, reduce poverty, like solve hunger, and people would vote party line and shut it down. That's it in a nutshell. That's it. It's garbage. The systems are garbage. They're horrible, honestly. That was crazy, man. I'm super glad I checked that out. He's something different, and a lot of those topics hit really close to home for me, especially the healthcare stuff. Like, it's something that really drives me crazy right now, living here in a failing system. So, man, I wish I could change things. I wish things could be different, but if you guys are still here, I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.